there. We're glad you could join us for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. As we observe Domestic Violence Awareness Month, let us never forget that abuse is a choice the abusive partner makes and never something the survivor should blame themselves for. You also have the power to walk away. We have a lot lined up just for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowan. This is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 23, 2024. The government has partnered with Atomic Energy of Canada Limited and Canadian Nuclear Laboratories Limited for the advancement of nuclear technologies adoption in Jamaica. This was confirmed with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding MOU at Jamaica House on Tuesday. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the partnership reflects the government's unwavering commitment to diversify the country's energy portfolio with new, clean, and sustainable alternatives.
The purpose of this MOU is not just to explore possibilities, but to bring possibilities to life. This is not a symbolic signing. This is not public relations. This is about Jamaica exploring technology, embracing technology for its economic development.
Work will be undertaken with global experts to ensure that every aspect of nuclear energy, particularly waste management, is handled with the highest international standards. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz adds that the country will gain much from the exchange of scientists, engineers, and other specialists.
This collaboration will foster the sharing of knowledge, skills, and best practices, driving innovation in research, development, and practical applications. Together, we will build out a network of expertise that will benefit both Jamaica and Canada. Through organized seminars and meetings, we will ensure that our professionals remain at the forefront of nuclear technology and its peaceful applications.
Discussions on the advancement of nuclear technologies adoption in Jamaica were initiated last year during the Prime Minister's visit to Canada. Both Canadian partners have endorsed the project.
Words are great, but when you can execute efficiently, like this was done, starting from the Prime Minister's first step, throwing that pebble into the stream and looking at the ripples that brought that MOU today, I say we can be proud of where we are.
This event is a testament to the strong and enduring relationship between our nations.
The government has approved $200 million in grant for the University of the West Indies, UWI, to establish a Fiscal Research Center. The launch and the signing took place on Tuesday between UWI Mona and the Canada-based Institute of Fiscal Studies and Democracy. A partnership agreement was also signed by the Finance Ministry, UWI, and the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says a Fiscal Research Center will strengthen and complement Jamaica's fiscal oversight and engage in regional knowledge sharing.
The opportunities for research into and teaching of or learning of public financial management is very scarce in the region. Public financial management courses at an undergraduate level just do not exist. And that is one of the gaps that we're seeking to plug with the establishment of a Fiscal Research Center here at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies.
We're very proud to be partnering with the government, to be partnering with our IDB multilateral partners, and to be partnering with all of the others that are involved in this institutional arrangement. And I think that if we have an institutional arrangement that is now going to help us to better appreciate the power of fiscal discipline, to drive that kind of stability that we need in the macroeconomy, the consequences are great.
Meanwhile, the IDB has indicated that it will provide $250,000 for climate change research and $400,000 for general research and capacity building. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang have strongly condemned the killing of 5 men during a mass shooting at a football match in Pleasant Heights, Rockfort, Kingston on Monday. 2 persons who sustained injuries during the incident remain in hospital in stable condition. Dr. Holness and Dr. Chang visited the community on Tuesday to offer condolences to the families of the deceased and assured them that justice would be served.
Make no mistake, once we have identified who the criminals are, we will go after them aggressively and intensely.
Following the shooting, a 48-hour curfew was imposed in the area. Information from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, Kingston Eastern Division, indicates that one of the perpetrators was killed in an operation in the area Monday night, during which a rifle was also retrieved. Dr. Chang pointed out that since yesterday, members of the JCF, JDF, and JCF Special Operations Team have been conducting activities to locate and apprehend the perpetrators. The Security Minister extended sympathies to the families who were affected and assured that the perpetrators would be relentlessly pursued until apprehended. And finally, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, has officially commenced a recruitment drive for its agricultural wardens program to address the growing issue of predial larceny across the island. The initiative is expected to recruit 300 wardens over the next 3 years. It is also projected to cost approximately $1.8 billion, with an initial expenditure of $390 million in the first year. Agriculture Minister Floyd Green gave the details of the program during yesterday's parliamentary sitting. He says advertisements have already been posted, attracting 100 applications for the first recruitment drive.
Our first 100 agricultural wardens, once recruited, will participate in an extensive training program to include, among other areas, enforcement models, fundamentals of police duties and procedures, firearm training, defensive tactics and drills, community-based policing, evidence recording, court preparation, target hardening, and agricultural modules.
Additionally, the wardens will be trained in animal traceability systems, legal frameworks, case preparation, and mock trial exercises, as well as obtaining motorcycle and motor vehicle driving certification.
We know that it will take some time for us to tackle the issue of predial larceny, but we are taking deliberate steps to ensure that our farmers and fishers can reap what they sow and can truly benefit from their hard work, especially those farmers in our livestock sector.
The Agriculture Ministry is encouraging individuals between the ages of 18 and 35 to apply. This can be done through the JCF's website or the JCF's recruiting office at 876-754-0600. Training for the new wardens is expected to commence in January 2025. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
I'm sure my neighbors hear the screams and cries.
I'm sure by now they've seen the bruises through my oversized glasses.
Can they tell I'm depressed when we speak?
Are they counting my frequent days off from work?
Domestic violence is any pattern of behavior used by an individual to maintain control or power over another. Domestic violence is not just physical, it can also be verbal. If you're in a relationship where you are being abused or know of anyone, get out and speak up. Report domestic violence by calling 119 or the nearest police station. Get out before someone puts you out.
Both Both males and females are victims of domestic violence. It may start with just raising their hand, pretending to hit you, until eventually they do. You then become fearful because of what might happen next. We'll share with you how the law can help protect victims of domestic violence.
There are countless victims of domestic violence across Jamaica. Some sadly will not make it out alive. Domestic violence or intimate partner violence has maimed and claimed too many lives. Neither men nor women are spared. But government is taking steps to cripple its immobilizing and far-reaching grip on our society.
Cabinet has given its approval for the amendments to the Domestic Violence Act, which will serve to strengthen the law.
According to the United Nations, domestic violence is a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. It is any physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological action or threat of actions that influence another person. One of the amendments to be made to the Domestic Violence Act is the inclusion of a comprehensive definition of the term.
The definition will make clear that domestic violence is not only physical, but also psychological, emotional, and sexual, and may occur in situations where intimate images are exposed to inflict harm on a person, among other situations.
Another legislative change will be the expansion of the category of people who will be allowed to apply for protection orders on behalf of an abused person. Government will also expand the conduct or behaviors that the court may prohibit the respondent from engaging in under a protection order.
This will include a prohibition on taking possession of or damaging a property that the victim may have an interest in, as well as directing the perpetrator to pay compensation for monetary loss incurred by the victim as a direct result of conduct that amounted to domestic violence. And also directing the perpetrator to relinquish firearm license, firearm, or other weapon to the police, and other orders that the court may deem appropriate.
Another modification will be the widening of the threshold to be met in obtaining protection orders from the court. This is to give greater protection to those who need the orders to keep abusers away. And additionally, government will be increasing the penalty for breach of a protection order.
The current penalty is $10,000. We want to see the penalty move to $1 million or imprisonment for at least 1 year.
Though these amendments will go a far way in strengthening the law, perpetrators cannot and will not be punished unless persons speak up and speak out against domestic abuse. If you or someone you know is in a violent relationship, reach out to the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport for help immediately.
They can call 876-553-0372. We will get to you and we will ensure that you get to a safe place. We have the call lines for the men and we have lines for the women. Feel free to call us. We are here to help you. That is a commitment of this government.
One thing we need to remember is that there are many persons out there in our family, community, wider society who may be having challenges, and that these persons sometimes need to be heard, sometimes need to be helped, sometimes need to be hugged, right? And the best we can do to promote mental wellness in our community is just to be there for people, to be able to hear them, to be able to hug them, to be able to help them, you know? And let's all be our brother's keeper and make this place a better place and a place that is conducive to good mental health and mental wellness.
Victims of domestic violence oftentimes blame themselves for the abuse. Now, this abuse then becomes a cycle, leading to trauma and, in some cases, suicidal thoughts. Many people suffer in silence because they fear what the outcome might be. Here is one woman's story and how she overcame the abuse.
All that is an actual story, a story all too familiar. And well, that's a part of my story. Growing up, I've seen my father flip over the simplest of things. He would basically change from an angel to a devil in a flash. I remember this instance. My mom told me that she was coming home from work one evening because she worked very close to where he lived. She was coming home from work, and usually when you're leaving work, it's a lot of persons leaving at the same time, and she was talking to one of her co-workers and she smiled at him. He smiled back, and my father saw that. And when she went home, he was ready for her. He was like, oh, see, I smile at my pan the road, you smile at my pan the road. He beat her, he stripped her naked, and he chased her in front of the yard so all her co-workers could see. So all her co-workers could see her.
Domestic abuse or domestic violence is not just physical abuse. The physical abuse basically for us is the end product coming from somewhere else. So you have stalking, you have intimidation, you have threat, you have psychological abuse, you know, the ones that I'll tell you, I play on your emotions as to what I can do.
It was known to everybody that this was the type of person she was dating, this was the type of man he was. Even the security at the gate, the manager, everyone. So it's not like her life was a secret. If she could not have any friends. He was the only person she could talk to, go anywhere with. If someone even talked to her and she not acknowledging them, she would get beaten for that. The least good thing, he would flip on her.
Usually, the person who are perpetrators of domestic violence are usually men, and usually they are persons who were controlling over their intimate partners. They tend to have a high level of jealousy, and they tend to be very possessive. And as such, you find that they will have a pattern of behavior where they will always check where the partner is by various means, whether by calling the person, ask the person where they are, also want to know who are they communicating with. So are they communicating persons on email, WhatsApp, or a social media platform? They also want to make sure that they know where they are at all times and that they're not interacting with other persons outside. So they tend to want to have them stay home, for example, and lose connection with their families and friends.
A lot of persons knew that my mom was being abused. Well, the type of man that my father was, everyone was afraid of him. My neighbor was afraid of him. His neighbor was afraid of him. It's like anyone who came into contact with him would get hurt because he's not a simple person. I'm not sure if it's because of his build. He's really fit, he's really tall, muscular, so he's not afraid.
As community members, we have a moral responsibility that within our homes and within our communities, once we are aware that there are instances of domestic abuse and domestic violence and we seek help, best place to go? To the police. Ask the police to intervene. Intervention can be that the police directs the victim to a counseling center, because we have partnership with churches, right? We have partnership with other organizations, Justices of the Peace, counselors.
Every time she escaped him, he would either stalk her, chase her, go to her either friend's house, wherever she went, friend's house, mother's house, cousin's house, no matter where she went, he would find her, go for her with a gun, knife, machete, whatever it may be, and she would always have to go back with him. No one, no matter how much they try to fight and help her, he would always get her back. And when she goes back with him, the beating got worse, the abuse got worse, the rape got worse, everything got worse.
Have an escape plan. Your escape plan cannot be where the perpetrator knows that you're going over to your mother's house because he's aware of where your mother lives. An escape plan cannot be, I'm going to go stay by my friend because he knows where your friends are. If it's a life-threatening abuse, that's where you go to the courts to seek a protection order or an occupation order or both.
I would say maybe around primary school. I'm not sure the exact age. I was told that there was a restraining order for between me and my father. He should not be about, I'm not sure how much feet from me. He's not allowed to be near me at all. At this time I was living with my grandmother because my mom got full custody now. They had went through court and everything and fought her way, so there was no more hiding from him. He knew where I was living now because she got custody and he had to basically step away.
The protection order will say you are not to be seen, you are to remove one party is to leave the household because of the volatility of the situation. The court may say, look here, one party must leave the household and reside elsewhere. And other times it's the abuser that the court will say, look, stay somewhere else until the matter is heard, or you're not to be seen in the workplace of the person.
The abuse that my mom endured, the physical abuse and the verbal abuse that I basically endured from my father, it has caused me to basically lock myself away from people. I'm always by myself, 90% of the time I would say. I'm always by myself. Throughout high school, I've had counseling. I was rebellious because I felt like no one loved me. I struggled in the relationship department, friendship. I have anger issues. I've learned to control it because of counseling. I have this teacher, she helped me throughout high school and university.
Counseling able to revisit what happened, able to process it in a more positive way and more realistic way. So you don't put all the blame on yourself, but you realize that a lot of it wasn't your fault. And then help you now to, having dealt with it, to try to move on. Because a lot of persons, because they don't deal with it, they find it difficult to relate to other persons because the fact that they are still carrying baggage of what happened to them before.
The Domestic Violence Intervention Centers, one of those facilities that were donated by the U.S. Embassy, and it's a partnership between the JCF and the U.S. Embassy, to create a facility where persons can come and speak about domestic violence and domestic abuse related issues within their home. And so it's a safe space for both victims and perpetrator. And it offers counseling to family members, to victims, also to perpetrators. We have two centers that are currently operational. One is at the Matilda's Corner Police Station. You can call the Matilda's Corner Police Station for that. The other one is at Air 5 headquarters. That's on the same compound as Constant Spring Police Station. The number is 702-5120 or 702-5121.
We also have available mental health and suicide helpline. And this helpline is a 24-hour service, which is toll-free, where persons can call So it can be either persons calling on behalf of others that they have been exposed to domestic violence. So the helpline is toll free and 888 New Life, which is 888-639-5433. And the 24-hour service, 7 days per week.
If you know someone is being abused, say something, do something.
Attention all primary school students! The JIS invites you to participate in our 2024 Heritage Essay Competition highlighting the theme, Out of Many, One People. In only 400 to 500 words, discuss how our different cultural, ethnic or religious groups have contributed to building a stronger Jamaica. Essays must be written in standard English and have at least one reference from a JIS source. There are prizes to be won. Get creative. Share your ideas and make your voice heard. Submit your essay by Thursday, October 31, 2024. Be sure to visit jis.gov.jm for the competition guidelines. Your words can help shape Jamaica's future. Start writing today.
I mostly specialize in lignum vitae, but as you can see, it's a mixture of the seed and the lignum vitae. So I'm from the Mighty Gully Youth Project. It's found by our teacher, Mr. Lancelot Bryan. He died in England a few years back. So what he always do, he always go around and all boys who on the street, homeless boys, and take them and bring them to the shop and teach us. And he always have place, if you're coming from far, you can stay over, and he teach us every little thing, cleanliness, how to cook, and everything. So we grow up in Old Lava, so it's very close to the Mighty Gully. So from I was a youth, I was always going over there until I get to fall in love with it. And Mr. Bryan taught us how to carve and how to do business. And so what I do is not me alone. I take things that my friends made too. So I got work from my friends, Marlon Francisco and Jay Van Johnson. We do the bus and we do tassa, we do abstract pieces, and we also do self-crochet. It's like a dream come true for me because I always want to own a shop to try to do business different, because every time I do business and I go out there, I never feel satisfied with the business because I feel like I'm being underpaid. Now I'm at the Artisan village, I feel much better and I like the environment. It's clean and nice.
This is where we close the pages for today, but be sure to join us tomorrow on this same station for another program that is geared to keep you in the know. Until then, visit our website, jis.gov.jm for this and all other happenings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, leaving you with this thought. The chains of domestic abuse are heavy, but you have the strength to break them.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.